Ocean Drive, Miami Beach. July 15th, 1997. 8:30 in the morning. The street is almost empty. A few joggers. A delivery truck. The kind of quiet that a city produces. In the gap between the night crowd leaving and the morning crowd arriving. The man who lived at 1116 Ocean Drive had woken early, as he always did. He had walked to the news cafe, 2 blocks south, and bought magazines and an espresso. He was wearing black shorts and a black shirt. He carried a paper bag. He wore no security. He never wore security at home. He had lived on the street for 5 years. He knew every face on it. He was 50 years old. He was worth approximately $900 million. He had dressed Madonna, Princess Diana, Elton John, Naomi Campbell, Elizabeth Taylor, and Courtney Love. He had put his name on perfume, hotels, home furnishings, and a television series. He had turned a single symbol, the head of Medusa, into one of the most recognizable logos in the world. He was, by every account of those closest to him, in a genuinely good place that summer. He had been diagnosed with a rare form of ear cancer in 1997 and had completed treatment. The doctors were optimistic. He had been telling friends he felt more energized than he had in years. He was designing the next collection. He was making plans. At 8:45 a.m., he reached his front gate. He put his key in the lock. A man stepped up behind him. 2 shots. A .40 caliber pistol. Point-blank range. 8 seconds. Gianni Versace fell on his own front steps and did not get up. He was pronounced dead before the ambulance left the street. His sister Donatella was in Milan when the call came. She flew to Miami immediately. The world, meanwhile, had already stopped. Every television channel, every radio station. The designer, who had dressed the decade, was dead on a sidewalk in Florida on a Tuesday morning in July. To understand what was lost on those steps, you have to go back to where it started. Reggio Calabria, tip of the boot of Italy, one of the poorest regions in Western Europe, a city that looked out at Sicily across the strait, and had spent most of its history looking outward, because there was not always enough to look at close up. Giovanni Maria Versace was born on December 2nd, 1946, into a family where cloth was the first language. His mother, Franca, was a dressmaker. She ran a small atelier in Reggio Calabria. 2 rooms, a sewing machine, a measuring tape worn around her neck like a piece of jewelry. Johnny spent his childhood in his mother's workshop, watching fabric become shape, watching shape become garment, watching a woman walk in wearing one thing and walk out wearing something that changed how she stood, how she moved, how she felt about herself. He understood before he could name it that clothes were not decoration. They were communication. They were power. He moved to Milan in 1972 at 25. He took his mother's eye and his own hunger and walked into a city becoming the fashion capital of the world. In 1978, at 32 years old, he put his own name on the door. The logo was the head of Medusa. Once you looked at it, you could not look away. Through the 1980s, Versace built something beyond fashion. He understood that fashion was entertainment, that a runway show was theater. He helped create the supermodel era. He understood that the right image was worth more than any advertising campaign. His stores were gold, marble, excess. Critics called it vulgar. Customers called it exactly what they wanted. He was close friends with Elton John. Princess Diana wore his designs as she built a new identity. In 1992, he bought Casa Casuarina in Miami and turned it into a monument to his aesthetic. By the mid-1990s, he was worth close to $1 billion. While Versace was building, Andrew Cunanan was constructing something else. In 1997, Cunanan killed 5 men across the United States. His face was on every television channel. He arrived in Miami, blended in, waited. July 15th, Tuesday. Versace walked to the cafe, bought magazines, had an espresso, walked back. 8:45. He reached the gate. He put his key in the lock. Cunanan was behind him. 2 shots. A neighbor found him within seconds. There was nothing to be done. Flowers appeared within hours. The funeral was held in Milan. Elton John sang. Princess Diana attended. 8 days later, Cunanan was found dead. No note. No explanation. Donatella took over the brand.
Versace continued.
Casa Casuarina became a hotel. The brand was sold for billions. What he might have built next is the question that remains. His influence never left fashion. The steps where he died became a place people visit. He was 50 years old. He built an empire. From a small workshop in southern Italy, he made things people could not look away from. He was killed on his own front steps. And the man who killed him left no reason. Ocean Drive still wakes up the same way.
Coffee, heat, light.
The street does not remember. The 8 seconds happened. The street kept going. That is the story of Gianni Versace.